This week on the Digital Coffee, soon you're going to be able to choose your own Twitter algorithm. Snapchat is working on collaborative stories, and is Apple about to launch a search engine? All that and more after this. Good morning, and welcome to the Digital Coffee. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing and social media news for small business. My name is Amanda Webb. You're very welcome to the show. We are back live this week. You may have seen last week I had Belfast in the background. It was fantastic, but it was a pre-record. It is lovely to be here live and see your comments coming in live. And with that in mind, I didn't even need to ask. Lee has a cup of coffee, and that's my first question. Good morning, Lee. Great to see you here. What is in your mug today? What tea or coffee are you enjoying with me during the Digital Coffee? As long-term viewers of the show will know, there is nothing in my mug. It's quite empty because I'm not allowed coffee until after the show because she puts her mug down. I talk way too fast before I've had coffee. Good morning to Melanie. Great to see you here. Melanie was one of the people responsible for me not being live last week. In a good way. Good morning, Jazz. Great to see you here live. Jazz has a fantastic group called Zero Budget Marketing on Facebook. You should go and join. He very kindly allows me to share this show here. So a big shout out to all at Zero Budget Marketing. Good morning to Derbler. Great to see you here over on LinkedIn. So we have Facebook and we have LinkedIn. Anyone on YouTube? Hello, come and say hello. Good morning. Great to see you here, Derbler. Thanks for joining me. Smooth golden roast coffee, Melanie. I'm very, very, very jealous. Good morning to Jazz. We've said good morning. Jazz is drinking water. A LinkedIn user, because LinkedIn doesn't always tell me who you are, says you can tell me who you are if you like. Somebody is drinking strong coffee in Cork. How's the weather? Did you say sunny Cork? Sunny Cork. Hopefully that's coming our way soon. Good morning to Simon. Great to see you here, Simon. Thanks so much for joining me. I do have a question of the week that I would love your ideas on. I'm going to have to kind of scope down. Should Instagram always be square? That is my question. Are you happy with the square? Do you prefer it when there are vertical shots? Would you like if they were more landscape? We know, right, that Adam Mosseri, the boss guy at Instagram, said it is no longer a square photo sharing app. What would you prefer? How would you like to see Instagram in the future? Of course, this is related to a story I'll be talking about. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But now, while I grab my notes, let's go to the news.
Hi, I'm Lee from Wellshot, and you're watching the Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb. Cheers.
Now, we all have a love-hate relationship with algorithms, right? As marketers, they're a pain because they restrict our reach. We don't get content that we have spent blooming ages creating in front of as many people as we used to be able to. And that hurts. But also, as a user, they can be a good thing. I mean, there are people in this world that don't care about marketing. I know. They're weird, but it's true. There are people in this world that don't care about marketing, and actually algorithms can be effective at delivering the content that you're most likely to be interested in. And I have personal experience of this because on Twitter, there is already an option where you can switch between the most recent tweets, basically all the tweets, or the algorithm-based one. When the algorithm first came to Twitter, I was such a Twitter purist. I was like, no, I don't want the algorithm. So I always had it to show me the full stream of tweets. And you know what happened? Over time, I went off Twitter because all that I saw were just rubbish. My feed was rubbish. I know, I follow too many people. I know that's an issue too. But it was rubbish. There were retweets. There were just a whole lot of stuff I wasn't interested in. And I found myself moving away from what had always been my favourite social network. And then I thought, well, let's try this algorithm thing. my feed instantly became better. So I think as users, often as marketers, we hate the algorithm, but as users, it will actually make social networks a more interesting and compelling place to be that will share content that you want to see. But soon, Twitter are going to allow third-party developers to create algorithms that you can subscribe to. And you'll be able to subscribe to them by the looks of things from within the Twitter app itself. So you'll be able to select the algorithm that you want and see tweets that are governed by that algorithm. What could we expect to see in these algorithms? Well, there may be an algorithm that, for people like me, eliminates anyone talking about sport. Yep, you can get rid of the sport. I'd be quite happy to sign up with that. You know, I've got people that I follow on Twitter who share really good content during the week. As soon as there's a match on, it's all about Liverpool or Chelsea or Man United or whatever GAA team's playing this week. I would love to be able to eliminate that, so I would sign up to that algorithm. Or maybe there's one that eliminates politics. We all know I don't like to talk about particularly American politics. It would be lovely if I could just eliminate that stuff so I didn't have to see all the stuff that I really don't want to see in my feed. It would make it way more interesting. But for a marketer, there's a downside, of course, because we're already battling the algorithms to get our stuff seen. This means there isn't just one algorithm we have to understand. There's going to be dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of algorithms, which means we're going to need to be a lot more aware of the type of algorithms that our audience will want to subscribe to. We're going to need to make sure that we're creating content that is on point, that is going to fit into the algorithms for people who have chosen to see marketing content or business content or content related to whatever it is you want to sell. I think it's exciting. I think it's giving some control back to the user without just ending up with that horrible firehouse of tweets that have irrelevance. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd also love to know, don't forget the question of the week, should Instagram always be square, or are you ready to embrace different formats there? I can see we've got some new people. Oh, we've got comments on the Instagram square. Simon prefers square on Instagram. Otherwise, it's another videos, stories, reels app. Yeah. I think maybe you do have a definite point there, Simon. Would make a great change to make fewer image changes when creating content. So if there's an image on Facebook and Insta at the same time, we'd still be able to see it. That would be handy. Yes. I mean, that's a challenge, isn't it, for social media managers to have to create a square version for Instagram. If you're creating an ad on Facebook, maybe you need to, for the feed, you need to have a horizontal image and then you need to have a vertical. There's lots of different, that can make life a bit of a pain. There's Kate. Good morning, Kate. Got some Instagram news for you today. You're going to have to hang around to the end. I know Kate likes the Instagram news, who is drinking tea. I did actually have about 4 sips of tea before I started the show today. I can't wait to finish that off once we're done. Well, I can, because I've got lots of news to share.
I'm Ian Anderson-Gray and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Wouldn't it be great if you were launching a campaign or a product that all those people that you want to collaborate with on that campaign or product could get together and share their ideas in the same place? So that might be if you're working with creators and influencers, instead of just them sharing to their regular feeds, you'd be able to bring them into an overall story without too much work. I mean, you can do it, of course. You can bring all those things together, but you have to do a lot of work to bring it into one hub. Or staff, maybe you want to have staff. If you're launching something, you want all your staff to talk about something. Would be really handy if that was all in one place. And that's, I think, one of the advantages of a new thing from Snapchat called, I always feel like there should be a button to press, but there's not a button to press. Definitely not a button to press. It's called collaborative stories. And what this will do is you will be able to invite your friends to collaborate on a story around a specific topic. So I guess this isn't designed for marketers. I mean, it should be, clearly, but it's not. It's designed for human beings who might say, oh, well, we're all going to try this thing out today. Let's collaborate together to bring this story together. And all those people will be able to join the story. They'll be able to share their own experiences into the story. They'll also be able to invite friends into the story as well. And the reach of that story, so it won't just be you, it's not just your story and just your followers will see it. All the followers of all the people who collaborate will have access to this story. And for business, this could be used really well for things like menu launches. It could be used, maybe you want to do a cooking demo or a cocktail demo, and you can have all the people that you're working with at home trying to create the cocktails themselves and sharing their stories, bringing it together into one wonderfully long story with all these people. And because those creators and influencers you work with will be able to invite people in as well, you can talk to them about the members of their community that they might want to invite to spread that message even further. It could even be good for a product launch, for an unboxing, for anything where you want to work with creators. However, there is one big disadvantage. This is on Snapchat. That's it. It's on Snapchat, which, I'm sure I was talking to someone the other day, their daughter, who is young, was still using Snapchat. There are Snapchat users out there, but we know it doesn't have the reach of those other channels to a lot of audiences. So although I totally love this tool, the effect, the reach that you're going to get from this, you'll need to make sure that it is for an audience that is a Snapchat user, which could be a bit of a downside, couldn't it? Good morning to Louise Brogan. I still have nobody watching on YouTube. I'd just like to mention, not a single person is watching on YouTube. Maybe this isn't going out on YouTube. Maybe something's happened. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, let me know. You're on the Ballygowan. Oh, very good. Not just water, Simon. You're on the classy water. The classy water. Louise is saying she never even started a Snapchat account. It took me ages to get round to it. And I think because I'm a digital marketing trainer, very often I have to eventually get round to learning how these things work. And for a very short period of time, I was completely addictive to Snapchat. And actually, there's still connections that I've made there that I'm in touch with on other social networks now. But now the only time I go into Snapchat is when some new thing comes out that I can play with. So there's more Snapchat news later, though, that does have something that might tempt me back in.
Hey, it's Andy at Content Cal here, and you're watching A Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Typos are the bane of a marketer's life, right? Particularly when you have to type on your phone. You know what? Typing on my phone is a nightmare for me. I Mavis Beacon type. For those of you that are younger, Mavis Beacon was like a computer program that you could get that would teach you how to type. QWERTY UEOP, like the whole proper fingers in the right place, touch typing. I learned in the library in Dublin how to type. That was me. I need a course like that for my phone. I've said it more than once because I constantly cannot type on my phone. I do look at my messages before I send them, and then I send them and nothing happens. Sorry, nothing happens. I got confused there for a minute. What did I mean to say? I meant to say I send them and then I look at it and then I can see all the typos. And I've said something ridiculous. So earlier this week, I said every wedding day instead of every Wednesday. Don't know how it happens. Anyway, it's embarrassing. And it's even more embarrassing on WhatsApp, because on WhatsApp now, a lot of businesses are using, particularly retail businesses, are using WhatsApp as a main communication device for their customers. And if you're including lots of typos and spelling errors in WhatsApp, your customers, you just look unprofessional, don't you? You look like you're an idiot, that you don't know what you're doing. Thankfully, I don't really use WhatsApp for business communications. So this is good news. WhatsApp are working on a edit button. You will actually, like Twitter have unleashed something here, haven't they? You will be able to edit your WhatsApp message after it's gone out. Now, we're at very early stages. This is all reverse hacking that's revealed this stuff at the moment. We know they're working on it, but we don't yet know what the parameters will be. So for example, on Messenger, you can send a message, and if nobody's seen it yet, you can unsend it and nobody will even know it's gone. Or if you have sent it, and you can still unsend it, and it will just tell everyone that you've unsent a message. So will it be like that? Will you Will you be able to edit it up to the moment that your customer has seen it, and then afterwards you won't be able to edit it? Or will there be a time scale, or will there be an edit history? We don't know yet. All I know is that this is going to be good for people like me who are fat-fingered typers. Woohoo! Woohoo! I can see, right, now that Louise has checked, YouTube is up and running. Just nobody's watching. You know, that's fine. That's fine. LinkedIn, I love you. You're all there. LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm ahead on YouTube. It's about, you know what? This is really weird. I discovered this last week because I streamed the video rather than it being a live broadcast, which meant because I couldn't rely on the internet where I was. So I was sitting there watching it because I needed to keep an eye on all 3 channels so I could respond to comments. And I noticed that, it was out of sync. One of them was way ahead of the other. I mean, I suppose it makes sense, but I did not realise that before. And that's why comments come in at different times. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with that anymore. Let's see what Kyra has to say about it.
Hi, I'm Kyra Fingleton from Glamping Under the Stars, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Could Apple be about to launch a search engine? Apple had their developer conference on Monday. If you're watching this on replay, that's Monday, the 6th of June. They have their developer conference. And ahead of that, there's always rumours about what is going to happen. What are they going to launch? There's a lot of talk. Are they going to launch an augmented reality headset? Are they going to launch a VR, virtual reality headset? But one of the rumours tweeted kind of as an off comment by Robert Scoble, who is he's been a tech, I don't know if he's a journalist, but he's a tech guy, always has been very famous online, owns some big companies. He tweeted that there could be a search engine coming that would be connected to Siri. This is fascinating because Apple is one of the biggest companies in the whole world. And they've gone very privacy centric recently, haven't they? We've seen the update to iOS 14, which meant that basically most people stopped allowing ads like Facebook to track them to build audiences. It totally wrecked the whole world of online advertising. And then they launched something similar to protect mail, which I talked about on LinkedIn this week, where, you know, now if you're on an Apple device and you collect your mail through the Mail app, it gives you the option to protect your mail so that if it will basically show whoever's got the tracking that you've opened the email, even if you haven't. And we know this is the core of their brand now, this privacy centric thing. So having a search engine that went into competition with maybe Google that was based on privacy could be huge. And there are privacy search engines out there already, but coming from a big player like Apple, I think it would have a really big opportunity to take some chunk of the market share from Google. But it's also worrying, right? Because we're seeing slices of this thing that was this wonderful free internet being taken by these big companies. We've seen that, you know, Facebook has got its own slice where it's bringing together Meta now. We've got Instagram and WhatsApp and their virtual reality metaverse. And we've got all these things brought together that Facebook own. And now there's this other piece of the internet that Google own. And they're the 2 big players really. And now we're going to have this big piece of the internet that Apple owns. And it's going to be very compelling to people because they're going to totally market on the back of this privacy thing. So we won't know until Monday. If it is linked to Siri, that's interesting. There could be another push on voice search, which is something, you know, that SEOs have been talking about for years, but hasn't really taken off in the way I expected it to from all their talks. You know, I will talk to my smart speaker to find out what the weather's going to be like, but I don't use it for much search beyond that. I think it's going to be a really interesting one. Any more comments on whether Instagram should stay square or whether other formats should be available? I would love to hear your thoughts because we're going to come to the answer to that. We're going to come to the reason that I'm asking any minute now.
Hi, I'm Charlie Lawrence and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
I am constantly jealous of the tools that the kids today get to use to create video content. Because for those of you who don't know, I come from a TV and video background. I studied it in college, and if I wanted to make a video outside hours of college, even in hours of college, I would have to put in an application to rent the video camera. And then I could have the video camera for a certain amount of time and go out and shoot stuff. And it was clunky and heavy. And basically you just shot. And if you wanted to edit, it was a real pain because you had to copy the footage over onto another tape. And it was just, I learned the hard way. Let's put it that way. So I'm jealous now that kids can do way more things, edit way more effectively on their phones. And this latest patent that is filed by Snapchat has me incredibly excited. What the patent is for is, I'm going to have to read it clearly off the screen to make sure I get it right. The patent covers animating 3D avatars based on the movements of a user captured in a video. So, Lord of the Rings, just to give you the most famous example, we've got Gollum in Lord of the Rings, and we know the character of Gollum was played by a guy called Andy Serkis. And the way that they did that, they put him in a special suit with little dots all over him, and they'd map those dots to a computer where they were able to create the character of Gollum. So it was actually his movements, but put into this animated character. Now, I don't think this is what this Snapchat tool is going to do, because only a few people would ever buy one of those suits with all the dots on. No, it looks like what this is going to do is it's going to take a video of you and replicate your movements, but you'll be able to apply that to an animated character like Gollum. And I am like, oh my God, I so want this tool. I think it will be incredible. Use cases, we are looking now towards the world of virtual reality worlds. Metaverse is a term that's getting thrown around. We've got virtual reality headsets. People will have avatars within that. So maybe you'll be able to replicate yourself or your movements into that avatar. And the thing is that it's been shown that your gait, the way that you move, is as recognizable as a face. So now you will be able to actually replicate an exact copy of yourself into the metaverse, which makes it all a little bit matrixy, doesn't it? I still cannot wait to try this out. I just love the fact that this technology that was so inaccessible to me as a 20-year-old in college is now readily available and will be readily available on my phone.
Hi, I'm Charlie Lawrence and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
A few times a year, Google launches a new core update to its search engine, which basically the search engines run on algorithms in a very similar way to social networks run on algorithms. And they have to update it regularly because smart people work out how the Google algorithm works, and once they've done that, they can hack that so that their content gets to the top of Google rather than maybe the best quality results. And that's what the Google algorithm is designed for, is to deliver people exactly what they're looking for when they search on Google. And they've just released a new core update. So tell me all about it, Amanda. Well, that's the thing. It's a secret. You can't. Google have told us that they've launched this update, but what they haven't done is they haven't told us what's involved in it. And the reason for that is exactly what I just said. They don't want us to know because we know we can hack it. So why am I telling you this? Well, if you want to know if that has affected your website, you can look into your analytics, which I did this morning, and you can see if there's been a drop off on organic search traffic. Mine was down 129%. So whatever they've done is having an impact on my website's organic traffic. I'm not worried about that because there's a lot of blog posts that are in there that are irrelevant, but it is something obviously I need to look into more, particularly if it's affecting my service pages. You can also look at Google's Search Console. And within Search Console, there's a place where you can see where your pages are ranked in the Google search engines. And if you've known that before, you'll be able to see is there an increase or a drop, and it will even show you in Google Search Console if that's happened. And that will give you a hint towards whether your site has been effective. And if you can see which pages have taken a dive, that gives you something to work on. You'll know whether you need to go and tweak those pages, and you'll be able to try and see what they have in common that maybe has made them take a dive in the search results. So definitely worth having a look at, particularly, I think for bloggers, it's always a bit of a, I don't mind if some of my old blog content dies a death. I don't really mind. But if it's your service pages, that's going to be more important. If you are relying on Google search to bring you into the homepage of your website, you do need to check this stuff out.
I'm Esther.
And I'm Melanie.
From the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast.
And you're watching The Digital Coffee
with Amanda Webb.
Why do I want to know if you would prefer square only on Instagram? I'm asking the question because we know that last year, Adam Mosseri, whatever his name was, I really one day will learn how to say it properly. Adam, reach out to me and tell me. Anyway, last year he announced that Instagram was not a square photo sharing app anymore. And we all thought this related to videos because video is now getting prominence in the algorithm on Instagram. But it's not just video. It looks like soon on our home pages, we will be able to show not just the square part of an image or a video, but actually a small vertical version of it as well, 4x5. Now, we know they've been experimenting on things to make your homepage look different already, that you'll be able to pin stuff to the top. And what this will look like is you can see in this, this from a reverse hacker has found this, you can see that it is displaying those 4x5 images in the home feed. Now, I don't imagine that that is what it's actually going to look like forever. I imagine there is going to be a new way of displaying images on your home feed that will bring your square, your vertical and your horizontal images together. But there is good news here too. So firstly, as Melanie Boylan pointed out earlier, you won't have to go and resize everything. That might be a good thing. Secondly, you won't have to obsess about getting the important part of your image into the middle of the square so it looks good on your home feed. Now you will know that actually the whole image is displaying, so you can frame it with that in mind. There is less constraint on your creativity. So it could be a good thing. It is obviously going to fundamentally change the way that Instagram looks. Part of me thinks it's nice because it's going to take the perfectionism away from Instagram. I do imagine that at some stage we're going to see like the long and the horizontal and the square kind of all tessellating together without any gaps, but that's just me guessing. Either way, curating that home feed to make it look perfection could soon be a thing of the past. And that's it. That is all the digital marketing news for this week. Don't forget to join myself and Mei King Sang at 10:30 a.m. over on Twitter. You will see pinned to the top of my Twitter profile, there is a link to a Twitter space, which is an audio room. You can join and listen. You can join if you're joining on mobile. You can request to speak and have your say on these topics. So please do join us at 10:30 a.m. I will see you there, and if I don't, I will see you here. Same bat time, same bat place tomorrow. No, tomorrow, next week. Until then, bye-bye.